Hello, everyone. We are super excited to see you today. Today is the third day of our challenge, so welcome. Let's get brainstorming. This is the second half of processing. And we're going to go over yesterday and today. So I'm going to introduce you. You already know her, the lovely Lori Montre. We're partners.
Hey, here we are. Yes. And I just want to take a second before we dive into today's content to thank and just really recognize all the people who are in this challenge, really showing up. And I have to say, there's something very special about this group because the things that they are wanting are these incredible, beautiful things that actually, when you have the things that they are wanting to create, life is completely different, right? Life is, this beautiful, fulfilling, meaningful space where you show up in your greater and greater perfection all the time, with more security, with more just ease and flow and joy, right? And so some of the things people are wanting are a sense of peace, safety, security from within, living with meaning and purpose, creating an online business, being free of pain, having less stress, not being overwhelmed all the time, having fun, enjoying life, creating life in which I fully love my body and myself. These are the people that are in here right now. You guys are truly inspiring, beautiful souls, and I cannot wait for you to have all of these things, right? And it is all possible, absolutely 100%.
We have these patterns that we see of greatness moving through things all the time. And most of the time people don't recognize what they are.
Yeah.
So yesterday you posted in our group, or Monday, What You're Seeking is Seeking You by Rumi, which is so perfect. So exactly what you said today is exactly that whole thing. So see how everything moves along together. What we're seeking is actually seeking us. So what we're creating is actually waiting there for us in this specific time to create and to move forward.
Yeah.
That's the brilliance.
You were put here for that reason. Yeah. And it's such a beautiful thing when you are truly connected with what you want. It is the exact same thing that you were created to bring forth. And so when you're connected in that way, you can trust that the universe is only going to send you what is needed to help you in whatever way it needs to, whatever you need in order to achieve that. And so it's just such a beautiful dance, right? That we get to do and that life can be. And so I just wanted to take a second, honor all of you who are showing up. And again, the things that you are wanting are just so beautiful. And I feel like you're just a group that really has that higher elevated sense of, it's not the cars, it's not the particular success thing that's gonna give me these things, right? You've really been able to tune in to what it is that you want. So let's dive in today to the first, not the first step, but the first active step, because those early steps of evaluating where we are and what we wanted and the next step of getting clear are crucial. They are definitely steps that are super important in the process. But today we're actually going to start looking with a little bit more focus and a little bit more action behind creating what it is that we want. So I think the easiest way to go about understanding today's integration work is to give you an example from our own life and our own work so that you can see how it applies. Now, it's going to look different for everybody. This is a kind of more of a tangible goal. So if you feel like you're reaching for one of those goals that's more intangible, that's okay. The process still works beautifully. If you have any questions about how does it work for me, I'm having trouble figuring out, this integration piece. That's why we're here. So reach out to us. You can direct message us. You can post in the Facebook group, which is definitely encouraged, because if you're thinking of a question or if you are, wondering how something applies to you, somebody else is wondering that too. So the Facebook group is a great place, but you can direct message us. You can email us, whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is this week is all about you. We're here for you. We want you to make sure that as you're integrating the homework, if you get stuck, you're reaching out for that support and guidance. All right. So me and I decided we're going to share with you a goal of ours so that you can see how we're using this step 2 in the process, which is called brainstorming. Okay. So we have in our work with people, we've really noticed that something that can be super helpful is kind of having that space where you can immerse yourself in a different way of thinking and being. And especially when you can get out of your environment, your everyday environment that's cueing you constantly towards your regular habituated thoughts. And so on our heart would be the joy of being able to offer a retreat center to people who want to come and have that big experience to really, jumpstart their journey or their creation process. And so that's something, that's kind of playing in the background on our minds. And so we wanted to bring that to you as the example of how to go through the next few days to create something. All right. Now we, of course, know that what's behind our desire for the retreat center, which is to help and support people. And we also know that can look a lot of different ways. It already does look a lot of different ways. So we're not saying, if this doesn't happen, then, our mission life isn't, we're flexible with it, right? But if we bring it to you, because this is how you start making things happen, is you pick a goal, right? And you start to move towards it. And then as you get more information and things come up, you flow with it. Okay. So I don't mean to say, look, you got to zero in on one thing. And if it, and it has to look just like you're imagining today, don't go down that tunnel, right? Don't get so stuck in something that you don't see the beautiful path that could be there for you. So anyway, so we are, really thinking about that, allowing that to percolate and allowing that to grow. So today's assignment, you're going to go through and you're going to take the intention that you discovered yesterday that you are ready to create. And you're going to start answering the questions. The first question is, what is everything you can think of that you currently have to help you meet your goals? These things can be things like money, property, relationships with people, skills that you have, literally anything that comes to mind. Then you want to think about, and again, this is all laid out for you, so you don't have to, try to be getting everything down, but what can you imagine needing in order to reach your goals, right? So maybe it's the same kind of list. I might need this kind of money. I might need relationships with these kinds of people. I might need to develop this particular skill. Really think about, what is a person who has achieved what I am reaching for? What do they have? And that can help you kind of start to identify some of those. And the next step is to identify or to put down any ideas you have for getting those things that you recognize. I think this would be really helpful. How could I go about getting that? All right. And then maybe start thinking about some actions you can take to get closer to your goal. Okay. What are some things that I can actually do? So your brainstorming session, this is where your plan really starts to take some shape. Do not worry about, oh gosh, what happens if I miss something here? Right? That's not what this is about. This is about you putting yourself out there and just being willing to start the process, because it's going to change. It's going to look different. Don't be limited by thinking you have to get every single thing right. Now, if it starts to get overwhelming, some people will have that experience. Some people will be like, oh my gosh, this is so great. I'm totally, charged by this, and it's going. Other people are like, oh my gosh, there's no way. It's just too much, right? So just notice that in yourself and honor that and be like, okay, it feels like a part of me, right? Feels like this is a lot, but this is actually just a space for me to throw down ideas and really just live in the space of, imagining and dreaming, right? And you can limit it to 10 if that helps you, just 10 at a time. I'm just going to work with these, right? So we have tools to work with overwhelm. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by your vision and the things that you want to do, let us know. Because again, this is all about you identifying, where am I getting stuck? What are those blocks? That's what we're here for. So just for example, I'm going to go through and tell you a few things that we thought about so that you can understand how we really integrate this work. So some of the things that we have already, we've got savings we'd be willing to invest. and assets that we could use to get a loan. We have relationships with other people in the health and wellness industry, right? And here I wouldn't just put that, I would put, here's the names of 10 people. And
And what their qualifications are towards you, or what you're
right.
looking for support.
Yes, absolutely. Start getting some detail around this, because that's how we take it from the dream stage, right, to the create stage. I have a family member who'd be willing to make the retreat center their life project as well. We have mentoring, coaching, and skills, right, that we have been bringing to this world for over 30 years combined. So we have, the skills that we need to actually show up with people. I have a lot of meal planning skills, right, or for the food and that kind of thing. We have design skills to help design the property and the house. And this is a shortened version. Yeah.
We're excited.
Totally. So this is a short list. I'm just throwing some things out there for you to get a sense, right? And then when we talk about things that you imagine needing, well, we need the money to finance the property or finding a place to rent. We need people, we need architects, right? We need all kinds of various people that we want. We want somebody to advise us about insurance needs, the liability, the contracts, the someone to help maintain the property, someone to understand the tax implication, all this kind of stuff, right? When it feels like it's just, when you start to feel like, yeah, these are the actual practical things, and I have a hold of them, and then you start to realize, like, I can handle this. I can check these things off one by one. I can figure this out, right? When you have it there in front of you. So any ideas for getting the things you needed? We could talk to investors to get some of the money. We could talk to the banker. We could talk to, I know a retired home inspector that could help us think about some issues on the properties. And we could gather information about running a retreat center from others and from books and all kinds of things. So now we can start to make some action steps out of that, right? Okay, I'm going to buy a book on running retreat centers. Okay, I'm going to make a phone call this week. I'm going to
interview people, right?
Interview people.
Yeah, that's how I started the magazine.
Absolutely.
10 magazine owners and went to town. That's what we're doing with the retreat. We're going to interview at least 10 people who have retreat centers or retreat type centers. Beautiful.
Yeah. And
I've
people
got like 4 or 5 names now in my head.
Absolutely. And people who offer retreats, right? There's just so much, right? And so this list can really start to expand. And once you look at the questions, that's why we kind of broke them down so that you can think about them in different categories. And we're sharing our example a little bit with you. But this is the part of the action piece, right? We want to really start to outline what it would look like to have what it is that we're reaching for. Mia, I think that sometimes this work right here starts to get a little bit scary. And people would rather just kind of gloss over it a little bit and say, oh, I need, and maybe they would think about a couple things that they would need, but they wouldn't really allow themselves to immerse themselves in this process because, wow, it's a lot. And the other thing is, at this point, when I'm really starting to put these things down, I'm holding myself out like I'm doing this. And there can be this sense or this voice, in the background, it's like, you can't do this. This is too big. What if you fail? I'm too busy right now. I'm too on and on and on and on.
I must personally be delusional because I think we can do whatever we want, right? Maybe I got that little voice out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting because that's really true, right? The fear comes in to say, you're not worthy enough. Who do you think you are to think that you can actually accomplish this? Mm-hmm. That's the crazy part, is we have been told over and over that we can't. So Lori and I are finally showing you can, and it can be a confusing thing. So just sit also with your ideas. If they excite you, if they make you want to burst open and run to do it, and you know that it's a healthy thing, That is called passion. And that's where the excitement that you can't stop, you'll continue. So take this into, have we gone over the dream, believe, create process with them? I know that we have our homework and all, but this is also the same way of thinking, of dreaming, of believing to create. If you can't get it in your bloodstream, if you can't taste it, if you can't feel it and imagine being there working, for us, working with clients and greeting them at the door, having our people pick them up at the airport and bringing them to the house, you can't imagine the most simplest of things in the pleasure of joy, then you don't have your dream alive.
Yeah.
Look at your dream, because it's all about you. The first time maybe somebody has said that. And this is the important part of being aware of what you want. Lori and I talked a lot about know what you want, examine what you want, because if you haven't taken steps, you don't know the exact depth you can go. And as you do begin it, and you do get to those depths, you're going to be like, holy smokes, there's still so much goodness here.
Mm.
It's really brilliant.
Yeah. And it is. And what Mia's talking about is building that confidence and building that knowing, right? Connecting with what is powerful to you. But I don't want you to worry if you're not there, or if you say to me, I don't know what I want. Do you have even a hint or a glimmer? Because if you do, we can follow that. And we just take it one step at a time, and it builds and grows, and that clarity, that connection, all of it doesn't need to be figured out from today. All you need is that little hint. I think I'm wanting, some connection in my life. I don't know what that looks like or what I'm even, and so we don't need to have it all figured out. We just need to have something and be willing, right, to be open and stand in that space.
And those who can't find, or they've had trouble in their life deciphering or making decisions, and that's one reason why you're here, is for your organizational skills and your clarity and all that. Guess what happens when you sit in front of Lori and I together, individually, whatever? Guess what happens? We get to pull out all those dreams within you that you already want, but you don't know how to pull them out. We begin to ask you questions. You begin to see things. We begin to tap into that energy and pull and see. And before you know it, you're already creating. That's the beauty of creation, is when you get past and outside of yourself into the open area of life, you can create. The way that I have since 2009 or 2008, the way that I've handled my life is exactly like a child, in the sense that everything is accomplishable. Nothing is a stop. And I can create what I want without humanity, mankind, obviously the same thing, stopping me. Because there are answers for every way to create something. You just have to discover them. And that's the beauty. When you remove all the clutter and you're able to move smoothly, or you're working with somebody like Lori and I, it moves very smoothly, because we've done this so much. We work with people so much that we can see and we can help pull you. So
and there's
do your accelerated calls. Do your accelerated calls. Do the calls that we've offered for you guys, because those are there to support you in what you truly want, which guaranteed most people don't know specifically what they want. They have a glimmer, and until that glimmer gets the light shined on it and then it explodes within you, you're like, oh gosh, I know there's something there, but I don't know. And isn't that frustrating? It is
frustrating, but it's also, and I always encourage people, like, it's also a beautiful thing that the frustration is there, because the frustration is what brought you to sign up. The frustration is what nudges you forward into, knowing there's something more for me. I was designed for something more, even if that is living with more joy, having more fun, laughing more. Somehow that's needed.
Isn't that crazy that looks like a weird thing to want? I remember when I learned that I didn't know how to laugh out loud, I thought I was always a happy person. And then I realized I was so repressed, my voice couldn't actually laugh out loud. And I was about 21 years old when I realized that. And I was so embarrassed that I set my journey on learning how to laugh. I mean, now you can't stop me because
Yeah.
it's all there is.
Yeah.
So I love how you grab that, because even if it's just a little thing to be happier, to find joy, peace, beauty, connection with other humans, that's the place to start.
Yeah.
If you feel that you want that over creating, something different, go for it, because the foundations of who you are will take you further when you work on those elements of yourself to get yourself
Absolutely.
to the place you want to be. And
Yeah.
that's why this is like a one-stop shopping place almost, because Lori and I are profoundly proficient in the emotions and the codes of them, and in building businesses and in creating lives. And it's not that, because we've done this with 30 years together of transformational experience, that's a lot of experience for two people to bring to the table.
Yeah. Yeah. And what a joy it is,
Yeah.
to see you guys reaching for that. It's
And
just,
that light when it goes off,
yes,
it makes us
exactly.
cry sometimes.
Absolutely. I've already
It's
cried
beautiful
twice
to
today
see.
with people and the beauty that's coming forward. So
It's beautiful.
yeah, so we have the opportunity right now today. We're trying to keep you to 20 minutes on the video so that you have time to do the integration. So let's do it. Let's get brainstorming and, just writing down whatever comes to you when you get stuck, and you will.
Yeah.
That's when that's the gold right there, because we need to know where you're getting stuck in order for you to be able to move forward. So being stuck is perfect. That's the information we need.
I think tomorrow Lori and I are going to talk a few minutes about the gold, what we believe the gold is, what we believe the world has been seeking for eons and eternity. We're going to talk a little bit about that tomorrow. So make sure that you're on the call tomorrow, because I think you'll really appreciate that in the moment. Also, for our homework, guys, let's get started. You pull out your integration packages, and we're on day 3. So go through those. It's important to write things down. It's important to be still with yourself. It's important to have fun with this.
Yeah.
This is not about beating yourself up. This is about expansion. And how do we expand? We're calm, we're gentle, we're peaceful. So if you need to dance for 5 minutes to get into that space, if you need to run around the block, whatever you need to do.
Listen to your song that inspires you. Yeah.
Yeah, we do that. We love that. So this is fabulous. And as you're brain dumping, think about the following categories. I know Lori went over them, but we're going to go over them really quickly. What do you have currently? Your resources, people, property, skills, groups, family members. Think of all these and write them down. And don't be afraid, because remember, this is a creation process, and through creation, doors open, doors that we don't even think that will open. So don't say no. If somebody you don't want to ask a favor for, but they have it, put it all over here still on your page. It doesn't have to be right in the exact column, but it could be over here, because at one point, I guarantee you, the energy around something will shift, and you'll either go directly to that person with smoothness, or you'll realize there's somebody different that's more important to approach. So that's the smoothness, the easiness about all of this.
Yeah. And remember, post in the Facebook group, because this is really a great exercise to support one another as we see each other's ideas and the things that we're hoping to create, and the steps and all the things. We can fill out our own brainstorming sheet much better. We become inspired. And remember, we're in there to help you and support you. So let's take advantage of that. We're also going to put up the link to make sure that you get your accelerated call on the calendar. You may feel right now that you're not really sure, what your blocks are, what you need. Let's just get it scheduled, because as you go through each day, and we can help you understand what that is, but we want to make sure that there's space for you on the calendar that is going to be available between now and next Friday, those spots. So don't miss out on your opportunity to receive this coaching, and for us to really take your information and figure out how are we going to help you take it all forward. Okay. So that link is going to be available today. And we look forward to connecting with you and really honoring this journey and this beautiful things that you're allowing to come forth and to share with us. That is a really special thing for us. So
Yeah.
we thank you, we honor you, and we cannot wait to see where this brainstorming is going to lead you, the kinds of things that we're going to work on together.
Super amazing and super fun.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank
Yeah.
y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.